What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Spiked, a Millennial college football show. We're gonna do a little something different for the off season. This is gonna be episode one of our off season programming, which includes some really fun brackets. What's going on, Spiked Rob?
Chilling, man. Gonna talk about some cartoons today, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a throwback like no other for me.
I know everybody that listens to our show likes our college football takes and everything like that, but since we're not gonna do college football, around the clock, 24/7, 365. We'll be hitting it hard come August, probably July. But right now, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna do some brackets. We're the bracket boys during the off season. We're gonna do some brackets. First thing that we're gonna do, like I said, we're a millennial college football show. We're gonna do millennial cartoons. We have the top 64 ranked cartoons, as you can check out the Twitter, check out Instagram, check out Facebook. We have it all up on the Spike sites. We're going to do all of the brackets for the top 64 cartoons brought to you by the IMDb rankings.
Yeah, so just to be clear, guys, this is from IMDb's top 100 animated series, and we kept it as tight as we could to the millennials, so we're talking early 2000s is the latest, and then it goes back in time to the 90s. So none of the newer ones. There are some good shows out there, some not so good shows, but we obviously couldn't pick the ones from like 2015 because those aren't millennial shows. Those are for Gen Z, so they can do their own bracket on that later on.
I think was the latest, maybe. I don't think it was that late.
Yeah, I think it was 2000. I think there was 2005, but I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there.
1990 from 1990 to 2005 was the bread and butter.
Yep. So that's where we got these rankings from. So it's not our rankings. We just had to make sure that they were right in time. And then whatever were the top ones were the top ones. And we've got a bracket and we're going to roll with it because that's what we do. This is our Bracket Boy segment.
Having graphics up. Anybody out there listening wants to join the Spiked family for free. For now, listen, the guy that was with Mark Cuban, that was doing the sweeping of the toilets and the floors, he's now a millionaire. Come and join us for free. You get to hang out with us. You could be our producer, whatever you want. We need a graphics guy that can put up our graphics, make it look good, make it look pretty, because this is a gold mine. This is a gold mine idea. All I have is gold mines. If you listen to my takes on the college football show, you know that I'm a gold mine guy. This is what I do. I just have a little problem implementing. That's it. But this is our idea. This is what's going to work, and we're going to do the cartoons now. And next time we're gonna do until the Sweet 16, which hopefully will have some graphics up by then, and we'll be live streaming. This is supposed to be live streamed. YouTube's being lame. We're not big tech guys, even though, if you look at him, he looks like a tech guy. He's not really.
No, lawyer, no tech.
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit it hard. We have the brackets. We're ready to go. Listen, if you listen to the Spike Show, Rob leads us. Rob is our leader. Rob does the leading. I do all of the talented things. Rob is our offensive line. I am our quarterback, our wide receiver, our running back, and our tight end, and our defensive end. Rob is also our nose guard. I provide the color.
Well, and with that said, so, a graphics guy, we're looking for someone who can help us out on a weekly or at least, every couple of weeks, getting some stuff together for us. And so if you want some exposure, we'd be happy to throw it out there for you. We're through the Iron Ostrich Network. So if you want to join in, there's a bunch of awesome guys at Ion and gals at Ion that are doing good work and coming up with their own shows. You do a good job with us. There's plenty of other people out there who will want your services as well to take you to the next level. But right now we're looking for someone who wants to get in on the ground floor and work with us on a weekly basis. So with that said, Johnny, you ready to actually do this bracket?
I am absolutely ready to do this bracket.
All right.
Sorry, I'm talking to my tech guy right now.
Good. So we're going to start with, just like we do with any bracket, you got to start at the top, take a number 1 seed versus a 16. And so number 1 seed overall, SpongeBob SquarePants versus a show that I definitely never saw, Roly Poly Oly.
Let's have a conversation. Let's go thorough. Let's do this right. Never fucking heard of Roly Poly Oly. Let's not waste anybody's time. Let's move Mr. SpongeBob.
Yes.
Right.
I love that pineapple under the sea. I will say Roly Poly Oly is the adventures of a clockwork boy who lives in a robotic world. Super not helpful. It's SpongeBob all the way. All right. Our next matchup, probably not so easy. An 8 versus a 9, roughly the same thing. Two very different shows, though. So we have Space Ghost Coast to Coast versus the Wild Thornberries. What do you think?
Space Ghost is very, very entertaining. If you've never seen it, he's very entertaining. Almost like the Cartoon Network commentator. He's like the Cartoon Network Carson Daly.
Yes.
But I'm gonna have to go with my vote, guys. If you don't know, on this bracket we vote, and then if we don't come to consensus, because we will have guests on. We want to do the first show with just me and Rob introducing to us, but we're gonna be doing rock paper scissors shoot if we don't agree. But I'm going to be going with the Wild Thornberries because they had the ultimate RV. The older sister was kind of hot, and they had Donnie running around like a crazy person, and I kind of enjoy that. And I like the outdoorsy nature of the show.
Okay, that's very fair. Now, I will say, we aren't in football season right now. I do have a commentator from when we were doing stuff before. You got Space Ghost Ched, and I know that that's coming from Space Ghost Coast to Coast, so I definitely have a good shout out for him. I will say the Wild Thornberries was more, I don't even know how to put it, like more in line for when we were growing up. That was a cool thing to watch. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was awesome, but again, it was more almost like adult in its theory. So now if we were doing the Space Ghost when he's a lawyer series, that is wildly different. That one would definitely be better than the Wild Thornberries, in my opinion. But that's not what we're going with. So I'll let you go with it right now, Johnny. We'll go with the Wild Thornberries, and I don't know how far they'll go, but Lacey Chabert being the voice of Eliza always helped a lot.
Oh, fun fact, did not know that.
Yes. So let's move on to the next thing. We've got Dragon Ball Z versus Dexter's Laboratory.
I mean, didn't really watch Dragon Ball Z, to be honest. And my take on Dexter's Lab was he wanted to take over the world. So I'm a fan of that. So I'm going to have to vote Dexter's Lab here in an upset because I just don't know.
Right. So Dexter's Lab was more, he was the science guy who wanted to do science things. He always wanted to try and do really awesome things. And his sister Dee Dee would always screw everything up. And so that was generally how it went. And he just had some really ridiculous shit that would get out of control. And then he would have to wrangle it back in because he was more like Dr. Frankenstein. So he wasn't attempting to take over the world, but his creations would try to take over the world all the time. So that was the general gist of it.
Started by his sister every time, and she didn't even know it.
Well, she would go in on purpose to fuck things up and not destroy the world. She just wanted to fuck with Dexter because why wouldn't she?
Is that your vote there, Rob?
So I got to talk about Dragon Ball Z. I got to talk about the fact that Dragon Ball Z is the OG soap opera for preteen boys from the 90s. Like, next time on Dragon Ball Z, let's recap all the shit that happened before, all the drama, and we're in the middle of this battle, and then we're going to take 3 episodes to cover one battle because there's always drama that happens, and then we pause and we go to commercial, and then you come back next week. So it's literally the never-ending soap opera. So I don't know how you feel about soap operas. Obviously, there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of, big, bulky guys who are going aggro and trying to beat up in each other and be super cool with their super cool powers. But that's what Dragon Ball Z is that it's just this, it's always about the drama and the interpersonal nonsense that these overpowered individuals have against each other. So I don't know, man. Both of them were wildly different, and so they did different things for me growing up. I'm going to go with Dexter's Lab. But here's why. Dexter's Lab, and this is kind of my marker for all of these, is
first upset.
It's an upset. But if you've got a show that in and of itself created, kind of this, I don't even know. If you ask people about Dexter's Lab today, people are like, oh yeah, I love that show. Now, if you say the same thing about Dragon Ball Z, they'll probably say the same thing. But Dexter's Lab never had like a follow-up. Dragon Ball Z has like 7 follow-ups at this point. The series is still going. The story, the soap opera never ends. They have different names for the series, but Dragon Ball still exists in many different forms. If those same people growing up say, I love Dragon Ball Z, well, do you watch the newest stuff? Do you watch the latest stuff? Most people go, oh, not really. No, I didn't keep up on it. But Dexter's Lab has, because it was like a full series in and of itself, self-contained, basically, and it kept that same like nostalgia factor as Dragon Ball Z or whatever, any other show. I think that has to say a lot for it. If in and of itself, it was just, at that point in time, such a great show that it left this big impact on you. So I'm going to go with Dexter's Lab in the upset.
I like it. Dexter's Lab moves on.
All right. So I am looking up the next show because I don't remember Dragon Tales, or maybe I do. So I'm trying to remember. So Dragon Tales is going up against the Animaniacs.
You don't have to look it up if we're going to put it through.
Well, that is Dragon Tales. Okay. They even had a video game. Ridiculous. So Dragon Tales, it was a cute kid show. Animaniacs is baller. It was so good that they sold out and brought it back, and made fun of themselves while doing it. So,
Maniacs moves on in the 4 and 13.
And it's my particular brand of humor. So I don't know. For better or for worse, I've watched way too much Animaniacs. All right. This one might be more up your alley, bud. You have Johnny Bravo at the 3 seed versus Timon and Pumbaa, the cartoon series stemming from, of course, The Lion King.
You forgot one.
Well, so that's the 3 seed and 14, and then underneath is the 6 and 11. I don't know why, but my brackets are always flipped like that. So if you want to do the 6 and 11 first, I'm fine with that. They end up having to play each other. So,
well, yeah.
Okay, you want to do the 6 first? All right. The 6 seed in this side of the bracket is Schoolhouse Rocks versus Proud Family.
I love the Proud Family. It's an overprotective father. And it's Kyla Pratt playing the daughter. She was fantastic.
Yep.
But Schoolhouse Rock was awesome. Isn't that the one that taught you how to make a bill?
Of course. I'm just a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
I mean, Proud Family was great. Don't get me wrong. They're actually doing a reboot. I just looked it up.
Oh, good.
But when you can still sing the song 30 years later, it's called staying power. And for me, I'm always going to go to staying power. For the first round, at least.
No, of course. Of course. Schoolhouse Rocks, definitely. That is how anybody in our generation knows anything about the government. That's all I'm saying.
Reset.
All right. So I'm down with that. So let's go back to the 3 seed. Johnny Bravo versus Timon and Pumbaa. So I have to imagine you were a big fan of Johnny Bravo growing up, Johnny.
I lived at home. He was a good-looking guy. He just tried to pick up chicks and failed miserably. I can relate a lot to that, except for living at home. Other than that, I think Johnny Bravo was a fantastic. It was stupid to be stupid.
It was very much so. So, I mean, Timon and Pumbaa, so the animated one, it was good. It kind of just rolled into the freaking Lion King 1.5. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, but that was the animated series just kind of went along with that movie. So they still had the same guys who were the voice actors from the movie, Nathan Lane as Timon, Ernie Sabella as Pumbaa. Like, they had their own show and they went 4 seasons. It was pretty cool. But like most Disney animated series, it just didn't have the same pop as the movie. It's not The Lion King. Right. It doesn't have that sort of like just dominating presence. It was just whatever. I think Johnny Bravo had way cooler, had way more of an impact just being who he was. Like I said, self-contained. He was just him, Johnny Bravo. That's what he did. You know?
Well, Johnny Bravo will move on.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I gotta take him out real quick. He's freaking out. Give me one. Sorry, buddy.
It's okay. You want me to do a commercial while we do this?
I just paused the recording on this one.
Okay, I'll pause it up here as well. All right.
All right, back at it.
So our next matchup is Freakazoid versus Little Bear.
Freakazoid is your classic. I was a geek. Now I'm a superhero.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one was Little Bear. I think it was one in. Yep, there it is. It's an Canadian educational historical children's animated series based on the Little Bear series of books. And I remember the books. I did not remember that they actually did episodes for Little Bear as well.
The 2 words why it doesn't go through: Canadian, educational. Next.
Fair. Yeah, I was like, I thought Little Bear was a series of books. I didn't realize they had a cartoon. Well, now apparently it was both. All right, our last one. This is our last matchup for this part of the bracket, for this quarter of the bracket in round 1. We have the Rugrats, a number 2 seed, versus What's New, Scooby-Doo.
Listen, nobody loves Scooby-Doo more than me. The original. Velma was hot. The ditzy chick was hot. Fred was kind of stupid. Scooby and Shaggy were just stoned. But this is the newer version. And it's Rugrats.
Yeah. Yeah, and all you need to hear is the little theme song. Pretty much all of these theme songs, going forward, we can definitely get back into them. But the theme songs for these series were just so great. And Rugrats is probably one of the best of all time. I mean, again, SpongeBob, SquarePants, great. Sea shanties, all that's very in vogue. But literally just the little tune, the little kids tune, classic.
And so with that first half of the bracket, that first quarter of the bracket, we went all chalk except for a 9 seed and a 12 seed. So IMBD, I always say IMBD. That's what I'm going to call it. I don't care. They got it pretty heads on that one.
On that one. Now, let's move to the next side of the bracket. So the one that we've got here, I think the weakest of the number 1 seeds.
Quadrant to the right, or are we going down low?
So, I mean, I'm going down, but I don't actually know which arrangement you have. I think we're going to the right. We have Fairly Odd Parents, which I think is one of the weakest 1 seeds, versus Samurai Jack.
Can I be completely honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really watch either, but I know Fairly Odd Parents was pretty good. There's a myth about it, that those were his parents. Those were his real parents that had died. So it's a cool little thing if that's a real thing. And then when he grows up, he becomes Danny Phantom. It's a cool little thing. I don't really know about it.
Well, and lest we forget his malevolent 16-year-old babysitter named Vicky. So that's Timmy Turner, and then Vicky is the evil babysitter, and then he's got his fairy godparents.
You know anything about Samurai Jack? Are you a fan? You know, you give the viewers.
Okay. All right. Let me explain to you Samurai Jack. So Samurai Jack, for no reason, went super duper hard and was on Cartoon Network. I will say that the person who created Samurai Jack for Cartoon Network conceived of it after finishing work on his first original series, Dexter's Laboratory. It's the same creator. Samurai Jack had
good coaching tree.
What was that?
Good coaching tree. Gotta have a good coaching tree when it comes to brackets.
Coaching tree. Okay, yeah. Sorry, you went a little in and out on that one. Your mic might have gone down on our brief break.
Better.
Now it's better. So I just want to make sure that we've got, yeah. So Samurai Jack is meant to evoke like 1970s kind of not just cinematography, but like just this very kind of pulpy look. And then also it takes visual inspiration from Ronin, which was Frank Miller, same guy who did The Dark Knight, like the really gritty shit, 300. So, yeah.
Who are you putting through?
Let me just make sure I have the cast, because I think that's what's going to sell it for me. Because I saw it, but it's been a long time. Let's see, Phil Lamar, Mako is Aku. All right. So I have to go with Samurai Jack over Fairly Odd Parents. I like Fairly Odd Parents. It's a good show. In my opinion, it shouldn't be that highly ranked. And Samurai Jack should not be a 16 seed. Like, that's just me. So I want to put Samurai Jack through as the big upset. But I would like you to get on board with this. Dude.
We're gonna do our first rock, paper, scissors, shoot to decide it. We're gonna go right here. We're gonna go rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Best 2 out of 3. That's how we solve things here, because that's the only democratic way. Voting doesn't really matter, because you remember Russian bots can steal your votes. They can't steal your rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So here we go, Rob. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
There you go. You have 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. Okay.
2 out of 3 because it's a democratic process.
That's right. That's right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You always drop a ball on the screen, so I was like, what is it? And I saw it was a fist.
Really Odd Parents goes through.
Yeah.
They go through on a buzzer beater. We do compare this to college basketball. So a 1 seed barely squeaking through doesn't look good for them in the upcoming rounds.
Well, like I said, part of it is that Samurai Jack should just be, it goes way too hard for what it is. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this up since we've got the technology to do it on my end. I know we're also got some podcast listeners. Oh, come on. Don't be like that.
Don't worry, we'll edit this out because Rob's just putting in dead space right now.
I just want you to see, like, if you never actually watched Samurai Jack, I wanted you to at least be able to see the artistry behind it, we'll say. So we're going to share screen real quick. So can you see some of the...
Oh, look at that. We're going full tech here, guys.
Yeah.
If you can see there's a Samurai Jack. Okay, so it looks like 19. Okay, so they're trying to go retro.
Yeah, but that's what they were doing back in the 90s. Like I said, it's Samurai Jack. I don't know what to tell you. He's a fucking badass.
I guess so. He barely lost to a 1 seed.
Yeah. You know? So I just wanted to make sure if you haven't ever seen it, Johnny, you should at least check out Samurai Jack.
Like maybe a 10 seed, maybe it's what you're saying.
I think so. I think 16 was just way too low for where the place it has in my heart anyway.
They agree with you or they don't. We'll see what they have to say.
That's very fair.
For the next round matchup.
That's very fair. Okay, so the next matchup is somehow even tougher than the one we just did. We have at the 8th seed, The Tick, the cartoon series, and we're going against Rocko's Modern Life.
All right, I didn't watch The Tick. I think I've seen it, but I didn't really watch it. I love Rocko's Modern Life. You had Heifer. Rocko was a wallaby. You had his boss. He drove a little stupid car. He had a dog. Like, that show was great. I loved Rocko's Modern Life.
See, and I loved Rocko's Modern Life too. And I think another theme song, right? You know, Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko's Modern Life. So here's the thing with The Tick. The Tick has been done in multiple other instances, right? Where they had a couple different live shows. Patrick Warburton was The Tick in the 90s. That was that series as well.
Just came out with the show on Amazon about The Tick,
which is unbelievably good. But also both of those live action ones only went 2 seasons because The Tick is, the whole point of the series is to poke fun at the superhero genre or just the inconsistencies in it of liking or taking superhero stuff to their obvious conclusions. Um, so yeah, so I don't know, man. It's hard because the Tick, the cartoon series, was definitely by far the longest running piece of the Tick, and it was always the same guy who's created all of them. I don't know. It's tough for me to pick one over the other. I'm gonna go with the Tick, and we'll do rock paper scissors because to me this is a win-win. But I want to let fate decide. But to me, this is a win-win. If the Tick goes through, I'm not going to be mad at it all. And if Rocko's Modern Life goes through, I love that show as a kid. So
back to back, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
exactly.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
you switched on me.
Rob, if you're not watching, Rob just threw rock, which I won on last time. This is terrible for if you're not watching the podcast. But if you're listening, I'm sorry. But if you're watching, you get it.
Yeah, the last time Johnny won 2 in a row just by doing rock beats scissors, and so we flipped on each other this time.
Game that I lost. So.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
No, you stuck with scissors that time. Okay, and I went with paper. First time either of us has gone with paper. 1-1.
Wanted a double overtime. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rob wins.
And scissors beat paper.
Tick goes through. I'm a little upset. I like Rocko's Modern Life. I think it should have been rated a little higher, but fair. I get it. And I think this is the weakest bracket. Just saying.
Yeah, well, let's look at the next matchup. So we've got Batman the Animated Series, which again, the kind of OG Batman in animated form, versus Kablam, which I believe was.
I'm gonna pick Kablam. I like the claymation. It was almost like a claymation SNL for kids. I enjoyed that. Wasn't the biggest Batman animated guy, not really. I didn't read a lot of comics, you know that, but I did read Batman comics. I didn't really like cartoon Batman.
Right.
I think that one when he was like in the red suit, right? Is that the one where he was in the red suit?
No. So that one's Batman Beyond. Batman the Animated Series is just it's
never
the series,
I've definitely never seen it, so I was wrong on that. My fault. It happens. I'm not perfect, but I'm close. But Kablam was like a sketch.
Right. Which I saw once or twice. I guess because I didn't watch it enough. It was on Nickelodeon, which isn't something I watched a ton of when I was a kid. That I just didn't. I don't think I got the concept. So to me, Kablam, cool, neat, but not like Batman the Animated Series is like when people say, oh, the Joker, the this, the that, like to me, I immediately go to Batman the Animated Series. This is the baseline, iconic representations of Batman, Robin, you name it. Like that's where it starts, is with Batman the Animated Series, and then all the other shit from it comes.
So we'll go with Batman because we're not even going to do rock. You sold me. You sold me.
Well, you were thinking of like I said, Batman Beyond, which was a very different, gritty show. I loved Batman Beyond, but only because you start with Batman the Animated Series, and then you see how they like mess with it in Batman Beyond and all of that.
Batman moves on. Rob could be a good sell job. Also, just so you guys know, we can be sold on things like that if you're listening to the pod. Also, each of us has one automatic go through the entire tournament. You can only use it once in the entire tournament.
And you can only use it before the Sweet 16. So we're going to find out today because you can't use them on the Sweet 16, Grade 8, Final Four. You got to win.
If you want to pander and do your selling, you do your selling now. And then also you can't put somebody through in the Sweet 16. That's not fair.
Right.
But Rob, I will give you that one. You sold me. That was a good sell job. Good pander.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, like I said, to me, it's not that Kablam was a bad show. I didn't have a personal connection to it. So, but now this next one's going to be very silly. We have South Park, which in and of itself, just a ridiculous show. And it's going against Pepper Ann, which I don't think you ever saw. But another catchy as hell theme song.
let's not waste the people's time. Let's not do it. We're gonna put fucking South Park through. It's not even. That's not even.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And, longevity also helps. So, okay. Our next matchup, again, wildly different, kind of along the same theme, actually. Futurama versus Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
It's Spectacular Spider-Man versus Dora.
Oh, you want to do that? Again, you keep going with the 6 seed first. My bad. Spectacular Spider-Man, which is a much later version, not the original Spider-Man animated series. Later on version, and Dora the Explorer. All right.
Feliz cumpleaños. I don't know. I didn't watch either one. I'm not gonna lie. I did some research on every cartoon. Dora has great staying power. Kids love them. Didn't watch Spectacular Spider-Man. Again, I'm not a big. I like my comics.
Right.
In movie form, and there was only a couple that I liked on cartoon form, so I didn't watch it.
So I will say Lacey Chabert, again, voice acted, was Gwen Stacy in this one. But it only lasted 2 seasons for a reason. Like Spectacular Spider-Man, it was fine. It was good. There's another Spider-Man series, in the works in this bracket. And that's the one where my heart is set. So I'm not going to stick my neck out for Spectacular Spider-Man over something with the staying power of Dora the Explorer. Have I watched Dora the Explorer, like a full episode? No, I have not. But she's an icon at this point in American culture, which is saying something. For just think about it. Like it's a Latina little girl just telling everybody about the world, and in America, she is fucking bee's knees. That's impressive.
That chick has lunchboxes, bro.
That's what I'm saying. She's probably more popular than Blue ever was in Blue's Clues.
True. So we're gonna go with Dora.
Dora. Now let's go back to the one that I think is going to be very interesting. Futurama is a 3 seed, rightfully so, and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, a 14 seed.
I've seen Chip and Dale's when I was very young. I vaguely remember. Futurama didn't get into it. I know, didn't get into it. So we're going to lean on Rob's expertise here to pander to me to where I should go.
So they're wildly different shows, right? Like the whole thing about Futurama is like if The Simpsons, it's the same creator. If The Simpsons is supposed to poke fun at where we are today as a society and the stupid things that we're like okay with, which means Homer's okay with it. And then you're like, why would I ever be okay with that if Homer Simpson is? Or whatever. Futurama is about where our society is kind of going and like all the stupid things that we think are going to somehow help in the future. It's like one of the first episodes of Futurama. In order to get rid of all the trash, because it was pollution and all this other stuff, humanity banded together and took all their trash and shot it into space to get rid of it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then it came back, it like turned into a comet, gathered whatever mass. And then the episode is that it's come back and it's going to come back and destroy the earth. And it's going to be a giant trash comet. So the brilliant maneuver, because everybody's like, well, what do we do? And they try to shoot rockets at it. And because it's just made of trash, the rockets pass right through the trash ball and don't blow up, stupid stuff like that. Because again, it's Futurama. So Fry, who is the everyman, the kind of idiot who managed to get accidentally cryogenically frozen from the 20th century into the future, says, I've got the solution. Start littering. And he takes just whatever he has in his hand, he drops it on the ground. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? We don't litter anymore. This is the future. And he's like, you have to start littering. To save the world, we have to start littering and creating trash. And so everybody creates a second trash ball, shoot in time to shoot it into space to knock the other trash ball off target. Like this is the stupidity that they're dealing with. And it's just.
But with that little story right there.
It's so high level. It's not for everyone.
Drama goes through because that is.
Yeah. Chip and Dale is great. I was rewatching Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, but it's mostly just like, it's basically, The Odd Couple, right? So Felix and Oscar, you got the really uptight one.
You just explained to me in that little 30-second soliloquy I'm gonna go with Futurama.
It's a great show. Like I said, Chippendale is kind of the odd parent, or not the odd couple, like the very uptight chipmunk and then the very sloppy chipmunk, and the two of them somehow still go out and rescue people and shit. Yeah, which is nice. It's cool. It's cute, but it's not like, I don't know. It doesn't have the same social sting, I guess is the right word.
Generic. Like Futurama seems very.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
That's what I would say is just, again, if Chippendale was against really and either of the next two that we're going to talk about, I think it would win. But unfortunately, it's going against Futurama. So the next two we've got at the 7 seed, according to IMDb, Two Stupid Dogs versus Angry Beavers.
I barely remember Two Stupid Dogs. There was one dog that was like the boss, one that was kind of like the lovable loser, whatever.
Yeah.
But Angry Beavers is a fantastic show. Norbert and Daggett, and their adventures of those two. It was pretty fucking good. It was a pretty decent show. It wasn't great. I think it ran for like 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I would go with Angry Beavers here, simply on the fact that I remember it more and I remember the names. So if I remember their names, it must have been a better show.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, Angry Beavers to me has more staying power. Two Stupid Dogs, I think I saw a couple episodes. It was like part of the Hanna-Barbera stuff. So like they weren't even really a full show some of the time. They were just segments that they'd kind of fit in between other shows. And that to me is just that's not very strong, right?
Also for me, for cartoon creators to get on Nickelodeon, a show called Angry Beavers and just skip that past everybody, it's fantastic.
I mean, Daggett is great. Just the fact that you remember Daggett is phenomenal. So I'm good with Angry Beavers. I say let's bring Angry Beavers through. Like I said, Two Stupid Dogs, I'm not knocking it. It just kind of seemed to be kind of a filler show more than anything else. And even if it was good, it was never strong enough to be really on its own. It was part of the block of the Hanna-Barbera Saturday morning cartoons. So Angry Beavers goes through. So our last one is Avatar, The Last Airbender versus Sailor Moon. Two, I would say, iconic pseudo anime shows. I think Sailor Moon truly is an anime show, and then Avatar is like pretty close. It's a Nickelodeon thing. Avatar is a phenomenal show. It holds up even to this day. For I would say teens, preteens mostly, but just the character development, the arcs, the plot, it's good stuff. So it really does a good job. I've been watching through it again. I'm actually almost done rewatching it all the way through. Sailor Moon is, I don't know, man. It's Sailor Moon. I don't know how to describe it. The girls all go out and fight crime, and they have all these ridiculous transformation sequences to like not really turn them into anything, just to power up their shit. But it was like what Power Rangers wanted to be, but truly it's like Powerpuff Girls and Power Rangers merged into one thing. You call it Sailor Moon. So
we're gonna leave this decision up to the man with Chinese heritage and anime. So Rob.
Okay.
I have no
like no matter what I do, there's a very strong contingent of people who love Avatar and Sailor Moon, and then only one and only the other. And no matter what, I think I'm going to upset any and all of them that watch the show. So
you than me.
It's going to be on me. Here's what I'll say. Sailor Moon, even to this day, has great memes. It's very meme worthy. And Avatar is just as good. But Avatar has real depth to it. So is it, the best show ever? No, I wouldn't say it's the best show of all these shows, hands down. But between the two, they kind of offer the same thing. And Avatar, I think, gives a little more. So I don't think Sailor Moon should be a 15 seed. Avatar to 2, okay, I guess. But between the two, I think Avatar has to move on because, they didn't make a Sailor Moon movie directed by M. Night Shyamalan. They did that monstrosity with Avatar because they thought it had enough staying power to give it a shot. Don't watch the live action Avatar movie. Just don't do it. But it shows you how much more depth it had to it that they could try it. So
we're gonna go with Avatar to move on.
That's my bet.
All right, time to go to the third quadrant. We're going to the Looney Tunes quadrant.
Yeah, we are. So let's start with the Looney Tunes. What do you think versus Daria?
Dude, I'm going to put the Looney Tunes through. But
Yes.
Daria was an unbelievably smart, witty, grunge music loving, teenage angst show. It was like, it was Freaks and Geeks cartoon.
Yes, it was.
It
It
was,
was great.
it was fantastic. I mean, Looney Tunes is going to go through. Like, Daria was just very underranked here.
I mean, a 16 seed, it's, that's almost perfect for Daria because it's always underrated, right? Like people just don't give Daria the credit. I mean, Daria was a spinoff of Beavis and Butthead. You did not see that coming. You know what I mean? Like you did not see such a smart show coming out of a spinoff from Beavis and Butthead.
I think it was a better show. Too.
Yeah, I think so. I think if it was Daria versus Beavis and Butthead, Daria would go through in my book. But unfortunately, it's not going against Beavis and Butthead. It's going against Looney Tunes. So we give a lot of props to the guy who created Daria and Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, Mike Judge. But you can't. I mean, it's the literal WB. Like Looney Tunes is. Yeah. Okay, so Looney Tunes will go through. So now we have Tron Uprising, which I don't even know if I saw that one or not. Let me look at it real quick. Versus Our Real Monsters, which I did see growing up.
For me, this is very easy.
I'm going with Our Real Monsters.
You got Obrina, you got Itkiss. What's the other guy's name? The armpit guy. And you got the armpit guy. What a great, fantastic show. I loved Our Real Monsters.
Yes.
They're monsters that live in the sewer. It's Our Real Monsters.
It's Our Real Monsters. I didn't get to watch it a lot growing up. Again, it was on Nickelodeon, didn't have a lot of access to it. But when I was older, I was introduced to it and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So a mutual friend of ours, Adam, got me to watch it. He loves Our Real Monsters.
That's smarter than most Nickelodeon cartoons, too.
Yeah, very much so. They were very good. Now, speaking of which, let's go to our next matchup. So Our Real Monsters goes through. We've got Invader Zim versus Cow and Chicken.
Now, I'll give you a little thing about Cow and Chicken. Cow and Chicken. Chicken was the older brother to Cow. Cow was a girl who was unbelievably ridiculous. Chicken tried to calm her down in like every episode. That was like their whole episode.
Right.
And they hijinks. It was a good show. Not great, but good.
Right.
Only allowed for maybe 2 seasons, maybe 3.
Mm.
And I did not watch Invader Zim, so I don't have I'm gonna go with Cow and Chicken, but you could probably persuade me because I don't really have. I don't know anything about Invader Zim, so.
So Invader Zim was a little later. Nickelodeon. They were both about 2-3 seasons each. Like both of them kind of. What I would say is that Invader Zim is. Let me read to you the kind of IMDb clip of it, just to give you like an idea of how silly it was. It wasn't zany like that. It was probably a little smarter than Cow and Chicken. So an alien named Zim from the planet Urk is sent on a secret mission to conquer the Earth, not realizing that his leaders were just trying to get rid of him and hope that he would die while he was on his assignment. Once he's at Earth, he manages to disguise himself as a human child, but one boy named Dib sees through his disguise, and thus starts the plot of he's there to conquer the Earth. Obviously, doesn't have an invading force, and it's this relationship with this little boy Dib that they try to get their stuff worked out. But Zim, believes he's there to conquer the Earth, so he's Invader Zim. I'd say that they each were very good at what they were attempting to do. They were just very, very different shows. I honestly can't say that Cow and Chicken was, way worse or better than Invader Zim. Invader Zim just had a more, kind of a funnier premise, I guess, of just like,
You both don't have a good consensus, and we're not going to really fight for it. We'll only fight for it when we do rock, paper, scissors. We're going to flip a coin.
Okay.
So this is going to be Invader Zim. Tails will be Cow and Chicken. Ready? I'm going to flip it.
All right.
It is Tails. Tails, cow, and chicken moved on.
All right, fair enough.
You don't really, I mean, again.
Well, like I said, cow and chicken, I did see a couple of those. It was a good show, but it was just, again, just kind of silliness all around. Cow getting upset, chicken trying to keep her in line, all that. Now, the next matchup is probably the opposite. I have very strong feelings about both of these shows, and it's going to be very difficult for me to pick one over the other. We have Pinky and the Brain at the 4 seed versus Ed, Ed, and Eddie. Ed, and Eddie at the 13 seed. I always like to just run them together, though. Ed, and Eddie.
Ed and Eddie was good, not great for me. Not a bad show, pretty good show. I would watch it if it was on. Pinky and the Brain was fantastic. Everybody thought the Brain was the smart one in that entire show, which he wasn't. Pinky was the smart one the whole time. I don't care what anybody says. It was an offshoot of the Animaniacs.
It was.
I loved that because Pinky was actually smarter than the Brain. I'm sorry what anybody says. The Brain thought he was very smart, but Pinky was literally the catalyst for everything.
That is true.
I love Pinky and the Brain. So I'm going to put Pinky and the Brain.
And I love Pinky and the Brain. That's the thing. So, in each episode, Brain always wants to take over the world. Everybody knows this. But again, the reason why it became so dynamic was because it was part of the Animaniacs. They did get its own show. It did spin off. It had quite a chunk, actually, of episodes. I liked Ed, and Eddie because the character development was better, in my opinion. Pinky and the Brain, yes, everything you said is 100% true. And so they always had to remain the same, kind of. Like, Brain never really learned to not be so arrogant, and Pinky just kept being on, enjoying whatever Pinky enjoyed. And that's the shtick, and then what are the hijinks they get up to this week?
Good shtick.
A great shtick. But, just there's no development. They didn't grow as individuals. They were Pinky and the Brain. Like, that's fine. Ed, and Eddie was always, you had these three friends who drove each other crazy in different ways. Really, you had a Pinky and the Brain like dynamic, and you also had the other Ed, who was the chill one with the beanie, who was trying to like kind of be the peacemaker, kind of doing his own thing. I don't know, like they had a better. I like the relationship.
For this?
I think we might have to. I can't believe I'm going against Pinky and the Brain, but to me, the separate series from the Animaniacs, it doesn't have the same weight as something like I said, Ed and Eddie. So let's.
Another terrible 30 seconds with non-YouTube watchers. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, you got me that time.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, tie, both rocks.
Paper, scissors, shoot.
Stop doing rock.
Rock. Paper, scissors, shoot.
Ah, all right, 1-1.
Terrible. I'm sorry for all the non-YouTube listeners. This is terrible. I get it, but this is what we have to do. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Woo!
Rob wins again. Just so we're keeping track, Rob is keeping track of the rock, paper, scissors. Rob is up 2-1.
2-1.
And Ed and Eddie goes through.
All right. And don't worry, guys. If we do actually get to edit some of this stuff out, we'll cut right to the good stuff. So our next matchup is Spider-Man from 1994. So what I would call Spider-Man, the animated series, the original, versus the Bernstein Bears, which had the books as well as the cartoon.
The last three in this bracket, a 9, a 12, and a 13 have emerged.
They have. That's what I was saying. This bracket to me is, I think it was one of the weaker ones that you were talking about. So, so Spider-Man 94 is like the same in my heart as Batman the Animated Series. Spider-Man 94 establishes kind of the baselines of all the Spider-Man characters in the Spider-Man universe. For these people.
Dr. Ock for the first time in Spider-Man 94. So I'm going to go with that just for that alone.
Yeah.
I never watched the Bears, and it's apparently spelled Berenstein.
So we will make one mention for the Bernstein Bears that everybody, us included, every millennial is convinced that Bernstein was spelled Bernstein. Bernstein. That's what the Bernstein Bears are. We read the books, watched some of the cartoon, whatever. Apparently, it was never like that at all. The entire time was spelled Beren, Stain, Bernstein Bears.
Which is exactly another example of why life is a simulation and we're not really here.
Yeah, they literally glitched it over to spell it differently, and none of us noticed, or were completely, mass hallucinating the whole time, which honestly, as millennials, is also possible. So, for various reasons, the Bernstein Bears will not defeat Spider-Man 94. So, let's talk about, so that was definitely not an upset. They're going to go, Spider-Man's going to go against the winner of Arthur, PBS show, 3 seed, versus which is playing against the Magic School Bus, a PBS show, and also educational, the Fritz.
First of all, Miss Frizzle, the Lizard, the Bus, the song,
yeah,
learning in a way that like doesn't piss you off. They were very inclusive. There was literally a person of every gender.
Yep. And everybody hated Arnold.
Everybody hated the geek.
Well, no, the redheaded dude who he was such an ass.
So I have to go Magic School Bus here.
That's fair. Do you remember the episode when they're in space and Arnold decides to take his helmet off and like basically commit suicide?
My favorite one though was when no, we'll save it. We'll save it because I think you're going to put it through too.
I am. I mean, Arthur's a great show as well, but again, both PBS, both educational, both doing the darn thing. But the Magic School Bus, I could play that theme song anywhere in a crowded bar, and half the bar would start singing along to it. They lose their mind.
There was like Arthur Day at Mets Field at Shea Stadium, and he was there, and we got our asses kicked, and he was like there for some reason, and I just don't like
it. You just have a bad connotation now with him. That's okay. It happens. All right. The last two matchups for this area. We have Beavis and Butthead. We were just talking about them earlier with Daria versus Ren and Stimpy. My God, that is a great matchup. 7 versus 10. They're like.
Beavis and Butthead was great. I'll get to that in a second. Ren and Stimpy for me was a little too much.
Oh, okay, interesting. So why was it too much?
The whole I didn't like that show that much.
But okay, so now let's compare that to
Beavis and Butthead. It was more realistic and more fart jokes, and I like that.
Okay, so even though the
music.
The dynamic is very similar though, right? Just kind of two idiots.
Exact same.
Identical.
I didn't really like it.
Okay, so you just didn't like the way it was executed with Ren and Stimpy versus Beavis and Butthead. You like that better. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I remember distinctly watching Beavis and Butthead with my dad, and my dad just going, "Yeah, I don't really want you to watch this, but I don't even know why you would want to watch this. Like, it's not even a matter of like, I think you're going to get the wrong ideas. I just think this is stupid. Like, what is the point of this?" And Ren and Stimpy, I don't even think he watched that episode or episodes with me, but I got the very same sensation. I mean, they're both, fine. They're good, but not. I'll go with you on Beavis and Butthead. I'm definitely not going to fight for Ren and Stimpy when it's just they're literally going against their mirror image. So, okay. Here's the last matchup. We've got Courage, the Cowardly Dog, 2 seed versus Digimon, Digital Monsters.
And this is where I fail again. I vaguely remember Digimon. I did not watch Courage. I know he wore a cape. He was purple, I think. And that's about it. So, Rock, this is going to be all to you. We're going to use your expertise here. I think Digimon just a really bad ripoff of Pokemon.
So it isn't though. So the thing with, just so we're clear, I'm going to pick Courage the Cowardly Dog over Digimon.
That's true.
My old roommate Aubrey, if he ends up watching the show or this show, is going to be very mad that I didn't pick Digimon when I had full ability to pick Digimon over anybody, because we watched all those episodes together while he was living with me because he loved Digimon. Digimon is a team-based thing. It's like an ensemble. They have all these kids. They all are stuck in this digital world, and they find a way to like tame these monsters and help them. They're their buddies. They're their Pikachus to fight all these terrible things in the world, and they power them up to like new and greater heights. So in versus Pokemon, where there's a structured world, there's all these gyms, there's really just the one kid on his adventure to conquer the world or whatever, to catch them all. Digimon is there's a bunch of like 6 kids and they're trying to get the fuck out of the world that they're trapped in and they don't know how. So very different premise and context. Not a bad show at all. However, Courage the Cowardly Dog is phenomenal and I love the shit out of it because he is constantly freaking the fuck out and doing whatever he can to keep his owners from getting eaten or killed or destroyed by the forces of evil. I relate so much to Courage the Cowardly Dog. That is like the most millennial show that we have encountered thus far in terms of its emotional dynamic. So I'm always going to go with Courage over Courage, really over anybody, but especially something like Digimon, which was just, like I said, kind of, the Power Rangers of meets Pokemon.
This is why me and Rob are such a good mixture because Rob has seen things that I would never interest me, and he can fill me in, I can fill him in, and things that doesn't interest me. This is a fantastic. All right, I'm glad you talked that out, talked it through, and now we're moving on to the last quarter of the.
Yep. Well, that's more so. I'm setting up my rant so that Courage goes really fucking far in this. So that's all. You know me. I'm strategizing. This this last quadrant, we have our last number 1 seed, the Powerpuff Girls, versus Teen Titans. Not Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans. Very, very different shows.
Rob, I'll let you start this one off.
Whew. So have you seen Powerpuff? Have you seen the opening sequence, the whole thing with the Powerpuff Girls?
I've seen Powerpuff Girls.
Okay. Every time they do that, I love the build up to the show. It's always so good.
And there's one with their sweet one. I get they're like the Spice Girls almost.
They're superheroes, but they're also just fucking, they're sugar and spice and everything nice and ingredient X. And so it's like, let's fucking go. Now, Teen Titans was dark DC. It was like how you knew DC was always going to be like this dark, gritty ridiculousness is because it's Teen Titans and the way that they went about it. Now you have Teen Titans Go, wildly different, very cartoonish. It's like Teen Titans Go is if the people who did Powerpuff Girls decided to do Teen Titans. They ate them. They swallowed them up. So, man, I don't know. Wildly different shows. I like them both for very different reasons. So, I guess where I'd come down is, well, let me ask you this, Johnny. Did you watch Teen Titans?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Powerpuff Girls for staying power.
For staying power. Teen Titans, like I said, there was a show later on called Young Justice, and it kind of tried to recapture the same thing.
Young Justice was like the only real animated that I got into, and I'm on this bracket, and I would have put them through. But I'm gonna go with Powerpuff Girls.
That's fair, but yeah, Teen Titans is like the baseline, like several earlier, let's say Teen Titans 2.0 is called Young Justice. You know what I mean? So like Teen Titans is kind of a lesser form at that point, just because they hadn't gotten to that level of teen angst, I guess. So, okay. Like I said, I like both the shows for different reasons. You want to go with Powerpuff Girls, I'm not going to stop you. Okay. Now.
Here we go, Rob.
Go ahead and call it out. What's our next matchup?
Seed versus the 9 seed. Cartoon Planet versus Cat Dog.
So, I did not watch a whole lot of Cartoon Planet.
I will sell you on it then because Cartoon Planet will be going through here.
Go, all right. Tell me about it.
Cartoon Planet was pretty much just a variety show, like the TRL, with, like I said, Carson Daly, Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, as the Carson Daly, as the host.
Right.
Just making cartoons and talking about cartoons. and it was fantastic. It was on Cartoon Network, and it was funny, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so we didn't send Space Ghost through before.
No, he did not go through.
Right. So this is kind of like his second shot at it, is that he was in Cartoon, where he was the host of Cartoon Planet.
Yes.
Okay. And now I think you watched Cat Dog. Obviously, if you don't recall, it's literally a cat and dog, like two-headed animal. They don't have tails. They're just combined together.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely watched the show. It was a good show. Not bad. Good show. But Cartoon Planet just brought something different to the cartoons.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
Cat Dog was like every other cartoon, just like the same storylines, but it just with the cat. Like I get it did good for what it was, but Cartoon Planet was very edgy and very thought provoking. Like it was just, I don't know. It brought you rankings of cartoons and rankings of certain things, and what cartoons are dropping, and I enjoyed it. That was pretty cool.
So I'm totally good with that. You sold me on it for sure. Cat Dog's theme is very, very catchy. It's stuck in my head now.
Don't do it. Don't even start it because I don't want to get stuck in my head.
All right. It is a little country though. That's why I was just like, yeah.
I can't think of it, so that's good.
All right. Fair enough. So I will leave it alone and just say that the theme song for Cat Dog very catchy, but it definitely did not change cartoons as we know it, like Cartoon Planet attempted to.
In the draft or in the bracket, that is the only number 8 seed to go through.
9s have been very strong so far. We'll see how well they do in the second round. Now, the next 2 to go against each other is the 5 seed is DuckTales versus Recess.
12 over the 5 of all time.
Are you going to use your veto on this? Is this where you're going to do that?
Not voting DuckTales. You're not because you're not that stupid. It's Recess, Rob. It's TJ Detweiler.
I know you love TJ. TJ is like you. That's what I imagine you as a child, is TJ.
I love that show. The swing girl went over the top in one of the episodes. They had the king of the playground. Mm-hmm. They had Gus. They had Mikey. I mean, come on. If you're remembering the names, like they're just coming off the top of my head, it's obvious. It's Recess.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to make you use your veto or anything like that. I think DuckTales was excellent as it was back in the day, when it was coming out when we were kids.
I'm not saying I don't.
Right. But the new DuckTales, the one where they redid it and they have they basically take all of the stuff from the old DuckTales that we enjoyed and not only repackaged it, but just made it better. They really brought it to life. They made it into its own viable thing. You absolutely should watch the new DuckTales, regardless of who you like. But I will let old Recess go through no problem over old DuckTales. Does that make sense? Nostalgia aside, old DuckTales, not nearly as good as the new DuckTales, and Recess is fucking Recess. It even to this day, I don't know if they ever did a movie or anything like that, but it has that kind of staying power.
I agree.
Right.
And what are your thoughts on Recess? Not a big Recess guy or no?
No, I'm saying Recess in and of itself. Again, we were going back to it's a self-contained thing, right? Recess as a show was just great. It had no right to be as good as it was, honestly, because it's Recess. You know what I mean? The premise of it is it's a bunch of kids hanging out, and they just did such a good job with the character development and, like you said, taking those things that all kids have experienced and making them.
Out of the next round because I think that's going to make a run, and I don't want to get too in depth into it, but because I want to save some ammo.
All right. Well, it's going to go against the winner of Family Guy versus Jimmy Neutron.
Family Guy goes through. We're not going to waste our time discussing this.
I forgot that Jimmy Neutron had his own show. I remember the movie.
But. Yeah, Jimmy Neutron nerd likes to send things to space. Good for you. You're going up against a fucking just a behemoth, and I'm not even talking about Peter. I'm just talking about Brian the dog wins by himself. So next
Stewie. Yeah, Stewie wins by himself. Stewie's a better Jimmy Neutron than Jimmy Neutron ever was.
round. God, Family Guy is a fucking horse in that bracket.
Well, in the same bracket, we have, so that's the 4 seed, the 3 seed, or no, I'm sorry. First is the 6 seed. Tiny Toons versus Danny Phantom.
Okay, for me, I am an absolute huge fan
Of which one?
Wacky. They're loony. They're also kind of, like, I love like when you can just think of the song, like Tiny Toons is awesome, dude.
Yes.
I love Looney Tunes, like I did. Like Looney Tunes is a stable, but like Tiny Toons I might like it better. Like Little Taz.
Yes.
And a Little Taz was awesome. And Little Butt, like, I don't know. I Little Daft, like, I'd give me Tiny Toons, bro.
Yeah. Buster and Buster the Bunny. Buster and Bunny. So Gabby actually showed me, my fiance showed me all of the Tiny Toons, like they did covers of songs and stuff like that, their own unique way. They're absurd. Like they're almost Animaniacs level. They're so good.
I think, okay, I know this might be blasphemy for you. The Animaniacs did their like shtick. The Tiny Toons perfected it.
I think Tiny Toons is earlier. Now I could be wrong about that.
Okay, but what I think that they perfected it though, because I love their shtick. Like all of their episodes are great. It's just a good, with the amount of characters they had, they made it work unbelievably well.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, they were early 90s, 90 to 90, Plucky Duck. The OG Plucky Duck. Anyway, 1990 to 1992 was Tiny Toon Adventures.
It's like, it wasn't an origin story for Looney Tunes, but it kind of gave you like what they could have been like when they were, which is awesome.
Right. And then they had, but so yeah, Animaniacs didn't start till 93, just FYI. So I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with it, but I understand. Danny Phantom, all right, cool, whatever. You got through Fairly Odd Parents. I'm not gonna even try and touch Danny Phantom.
Not a fan, never saw
it. All right. The same bracket, number 3 seed, The Simpsons. In the same bracket as Family Guy. So this is great. Versus Rocket Power.
I don't want to do it because I don't want to get completely ripped apart and shredded on Twitter, and I don't want our podcast to fail. This is an easy one, and it's Rocket Power. I'm not a Simpsons guy. And Simpsons never did it for me. Homer's just he's just an idiot. I get Bart's kind of cool. Like I get it's like witty and cool, and like Family Guy does it better. South Park does it better. So I already have that. I know it came after, but by the time I got into it, Family Guy and South Park were better. By the time I got into that kind of cartoon. Dude, they got Raymundo. They have, it's all about action sports. Give me the Squid. They call him the Squid. They got Twister. They got, for me, I don't know about you, Rob. I don't know if you like Rocket Power, if you're about Rocket Power. I mean, it took place in California. They played hockey. They played they skateboarded. They had the surf shack down by the beach. There was a brother and a sister.
Yep. I watched Rocket Power. I didn't watch a ton of it, but I watched it.
Just give me Otto and Reggie. Give me Raymundo. Give me Squid. Give their hijinks when they fucking undid the pool in the second episode and they skated and they shredded some gnar. I mean, I loved Rocket Power, and give me Rocket Power over Simpsons. And I know that's maybe a simpleton take, but that's what I like, and I like what I like. So I'm not going to pander. I'm not going to say I'm going to go with Simpsons so people like me. No, I like Rocket Power over the Simpsons.
I can't pick Rocket Power of the Simpsons. I can't. I enjoyed Rocket Power as a good show. But all of that, extreme sports, X Games sort of like vibe totally missed me as a child. And I watched the X Games and I like watching the actual X Games, but the cartoon about it was so, like, I remember an episode where like he was trying to pull this one trick off over and over and couldn't do it. And then he finally, like, there was some weird thing that something ricocheted off of it and like hit his skateboard just so he could get that final twist off.
Final twist off. It was a great episode.
It was a great episode, but they went into the physics of, the only way this could have happened is because of this freak accident. And I'm like, it's a cartoon. Like, you lost me here. It's a cartoon. Like, that was the part where I was like, the fact that you're emphasizing physics.
I understand that you are the squid.
Well, I know I'm the squid. I know I was that character, but I was with him. But if he, as a character, understood that he was a cartoon, he would be like, well, it doesn't matter. You can just will it into existence because it's fucking, Roger Rabbit. You're a tune.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
That's fine. But I just, that was why I couldn't get into that show.
Segment of our podcast. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rocks all around. Rock.
Paper, scissors, shoot. Fuck. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, yeah, paper beats a rock. 1-1.
Paper, scissors, shoot.
We're sticking rock all the way, huh?
Paper, scissors, shoot. Fuck. I lost rocket power. Fuck.
You can use your fucking. Do you want to use your veto? You get one.
I only get one though.
If this is where you want to use it, do you want to use your save?
Oh, Simpsons goes through. We will be clipping me saying that rocket power is better than Simpsons.
Oh well, of course. But what I'm saying is that what's the point of having the veto power if you're not going to use it?
Use it for something. I mean, rocket power. I almost used it. I was going to use it, but there's other matchups I see down the road that I want to use it more in.
Wow, thinking ahead, planning ahead. Okay, all right. Well, we got 2 more in the first round, and then we'll be done with the most grueling part of every bracket. We have Doug at the 7 seed versus Hey Arnold at the 10 seed.
Okay, so this is probably my most toughest decision. These 2 cartoons, like for you, like Sailor Avatar was hard for you, and there was another one that was pretty tough for you. This one is Ed and Eddie and Pinky and the Brain was tough for you.
Yes.
This is my Ed and Eddie, Pinky and the Brain. This is Football Head versus Doug. This is Roger Klotz versus Helga Pataki. This is the battle. I mean, Patty Mayonnaise was in their picture. Give me Gerald. Give me Grandpa.
Give me Peter.
You know what Arnold's last name was?
I don't. I watched Hey Arnold, but I couldn't even remember Helga Pataki's last name.
You want to know what was weird? Remember how his grandpa used to say, "Hey, short man." Arnold's last name was actually Shortman. So Arnold Shortman was his actual name. I loved Hey Arnold, but dude, Doug the Beats. What a great show. But I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Hey Arnold.
I agree with that. I really like Doug. Doug is a great show, but the fact that, not to make this super political, but
Doug was kind of a pussy, never went for the kill with the girl. You gotta go.
Well, and that's fair. But here's my thing. The actual shows themselves. You got Doug, who was kind of regular skin color, right? Everyone else was like weird skin color. Patty Mayonnaise, super orange. Skeeter was blue. Like, it didn't really. That was just how they were. Fine.
He was blue, but his character was clearly. You know what color he was.
But so in Hey Arnold, he actually is. Gerald is black. They're not in Brooklyn, but they're in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like, they make it very clear that this is like his neighborhood. Hey Arnold. Like, that I think is what gives it the boost, in my opinion, is that Hey Arnold, it was real. Like, it was grounded in more of a real city, real town, real, whatever dynamics.
So we're gonna go Hey Arnold there. That was a tough decision. I loved both, but
yeah,
you can't just make Skeeter blue and Roger green.
You can, but like, you're missing what Hey Arnold brings to the table, which is how multiracial, how awesome that group of friends really is.
Doug came before, so that's why. You know how.
That is fair, but unfortunately, we have to compare those two.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's why when comparing the two, Hey Arnold goes for it.
Final matchup of the first round before we get into the round of 32.
Yes. Phineas and Ferb is the 2nd seed or the 2 seed versus Pokemon, the original, at the 15 seed.
For me, this is very easy, very simple. Let's move it on through. Let's go to the next round. Let's go to the round of 32. Let's pick some better picks. Have some more discussions. Pokemon, hands down.
Pokemon, hands down. Okay, I see. I thought you were going to go with Perry the Platypus. I thought that Phineas was going to get through there.
Never saw an episode.
Okay, it's fine. And I like it. I love Perry the Platypus, but most of it is a kid show, and then you have this like Perry the Platypus being both a pet platypus and also like a crime fighter / detective, like all this other stuff. But it's not called Perry the Platypus. It's called Phineas and Ferb. So like I don't know, like Pokemon. The Pokemon rap in and of itself will get me past Phineas and Ferb every time. I just didn't get any additional value out of Phineas and Ferb that I wouldn't have gotten from any of these other shows. And Pokemon is Pokemon. It's not even a good show. It's just a fucking, like, it's a cultural mega, so mega icon.
Now we are going on. We'll be doing the same. We're going to be going to our Sweet 16. I know this is a long cast. Stay with us. I don't even know where the time is at right now.
It's a lot.
We're doing all right. We're not even we're at a minute. We're at 116. We're not doing terrible.
Yeah. So let's find out, because remember, you have to use your. This is where it's going to get interesting, people, because we each get one veto power, because it's just the two of us, to override any sort of coin tosses, Rochambeau nonsense that we had to do. So it means that out of the next matchups, the round of 32, there's going to be 2 overrides, because I'm going to get one and Johnny's going to get one. So this is the part where I'm very interested, because I don't know where his mind is at. We've got our strategy here. He may not even have to use it. We may be in total agreement.
Here we go. Rob, let's start with the top left quadrant. Who do we got?
SpongeBob SquarePants versus the Wild Thornberries. Hit me.
This might be another bad take from me. But if you gave me an option to watch one, I'm going to watch the Wild Thornberries over SpongeBob. The Wild Thornberries, I love the adventure. I love the adventure of the Wild Thornberries. SpongeBob is just kind of a stupid show to be stupid and make kids laugh. Like, I like the adventure part of the cartoon.
So SpongeBob is definitely about making kids laugh, but there is a lot of, I don't even know if adult humor is the right term, but just it pushes limits. It really does. It's not just we're here to make the little children laugh. Now, here's my question, Johnny. Did you watch the Wild Thornberries movie when it came out in theaters?
I watched the Wild Thornberries movie, and I watched the Wild Thornberries movie with the Rugrats.
Okay. That's where I wanted to know, like, how strong the staying power was, because when the movie came out, it wasn't that they lost me. It was more of just like, okay, I don't see the appeal of going to watch the movie of the Wild Thornberries.
I mean, and you have a absolute stud at Tim Curry playing Nigel Thornberry.
Yes, you do. I understand that. I'm not disagreeing. Okay, so
are we about to knock off our first 1 seed?
Listen. SpongeBob SquarePants is iconic, right? I mean, can we at least say that, like,
iconic for reasons that I will never understand? But yes, people do love it. People love it, but I'm not everybody.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, even now, like, SpongeBob SquarePants has been running for 20 years at this point. They're just still doing it because that's what it is. I didn't have a strong enough connection to the Wild Thornberries to say that it should knock off SpongeBob SquarePants. So I'm okay with doing a Rochambeau for it, or if you just want to say we're taking this 1 seed out, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm just going to say I can't just say, yeah, Wild Thornberries. It didn't grab me the same way.
So rock, paper, scissors, shoot, because I'm not going to use my go through.
All right, well, we're going to make it happen at some point. I'm going to keep testing you.
Scissors, shoot.
Redo it. I didn't hear the first part. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right. One for
Rock,
Thornberries.
paper, scissors, shoot.
Ooh, 2-0.
Go.
Has been dethroned on a rock, paper, scissors.
Bye-bye, SpongeBob. Our first one seed's off. That's gonna catch some shit on some Twitter. I get it, but I'm not a SpongeBob guy.
That's all right. That's all right. And it's our show, so you know what?
I don't vote for people like.
No, I think SpongeBob is a funny show. Like I said, Thornberries, the parts that you say really grabbed you never connected with me. That doesn't mean it's not a great show. And the voice acting absolutely is phenomenal. So I can't be mad about that. Our next matchup, the 12 seed Dexter's Laboratory versus the Animaniacs.
I'm gonna go with Animaniacs here. I have to go with Animaniacs. I mean, great. Dexter's Lab, good run. You know, you got through the first round. Dexter's Lab's great. They played Dragon Ball Z. I get it. Went through the first round. Give me Animaniacs.
All right. I like the fact that Animaniacs also has other characters, other, recurring themes in there, stuff like that. So that's what made it probably more dynamic than Dexter's Lab.
Animaniacs goes through.
All right. Our next matchup, the 6 seed Schoolhouse Rocks versus the 3 seed Johnny Bravo.
You can only get so far on a song. I know I put it through for a song, but give me Johnny Bravo, giving me fixing his hair. And you can't tell me, I don't know, listen, Doug Ellen, if you're listening, I know the creator of Entourage, and I get like it was based on Mark Wahlberg's friend Johnny Drama too, I get it. But you can't tell me there's not aspects of Johnny Drama in Johnny Bravo, who I love, and I just give me Johnny Bravo. Give me that. That's where I got my confidence from. Like, he's the reason. It's fantastic. I love him.
He is an icon. Like I said, I'm okay with that. I think that Schoolhouse Rocks is great.
I see the black shirt and the big, tall, blonde hair.
Whoa.
You see Pauly D with fair skin.
All right. Johnny Bravo moves on. And we did so much, belaboring in the first round. I think this makes it a lot easier. We know where we stand, right? We don't have to really.
All right. It's always the round of 32 we'll find will be easier.
Yeah.
It'll be hard, easy, hard.
That's hard, exactly.
The round of 32, we the upsets happen in the first round, we get it, but we know you can't ride the horse the whole way.
All right.
Top always goes to the top. Cream always rises, oil always goes to the bottom. You get it.
I mean, I know someone from WWE who gets it. Cream always rises to the top. Okay, so our last one, Freakazoid, the 7th seed versus the 2 seed Rugrats.
Again, let's not waste time. Let's not discuss. Great job, Freakazoid, first round. Good for you. Rugrats goes through. We haven't even discussed a single character in Rugrats yet, and they're going to the Sweet 16. And there's a reason.
Well, because we know them, right? We understand them.
There's a reason why. And there is a reason why. They're an absolute wagon. They are a wagon.
Is it weird that I think I have far more appreciation for Angelica now than I ever did as a child?
I like that.
All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next. We already got 1 quarter done, knocked it right out. Let's move on. We do have some controversy, but that's okay. We've decided it. We're moving forward. Next quadrant, Fairly Odd Parents versus The Tick.
Rob, this one's up to you again because again, I don't really care. I am one of the people. I tell the people my true opinion, and my true opinion is, I don't care.
Well, I went through and showed you Samurai Jack, the 16 seed that I thought should have won over Fairly Odd Parents. If you think that I'm not going to pick the Tick over Fairly Odd Parents after I thought Samurai Jack should have beaten them out, I mean, that's where we're at. Fairly Odd Parents is, again, not a bad show, but you're going against literally Samurai Jack and the Tick are like 2 of the dark horse, just outside the box cartoons that I really appreciated. So they ran into kind of both of them. So I'm going to keep trying to get them knocked out.
Hands down.
All right. I love it. That's another 1 seed down. So now we have a 4 and 5 seed matchup. And this is the 4 seed of South Park versus the 5 seed of Batman, the anime.
Said the first 1 seed, the 1 seeds are down, but everything else, the other 2, 3 are all chalk.
That's well, so far. So here's the question: a 4 and 5. I mean, it's kind of chalk either way, right? Like you're not really going to have major upsets there. But South Park versus Batman, the animated series. Johnny, you didn't really watch the animated series, but obviously you've seen a lot of South Park. So what are your thoughts on this?
It's South Park. I mean,
South Park.
I already said why I didn't like The Simpsons, so it's got to be South Park. They're dirtier and they're more uncut. Give me South Park. Their episodes are fucking fantastic. Trey and Matt are so fucking genius.
They are phenomenal. They are phenomenal. I will say,
but their depth is there, and to keep adding depth to characters for 20 years,
right?
Come on.
Again, theoretically, you could argue that about SpongeBob SquarePants, but that's okay. That's all right. I get it.
You want me to pander even more, Rob? It's in Colorado. Where are you from?
I know. Trust me. I know where they had. I think it was Matt do Cartman's voice, and he announced all of the starting lineup for the Colorado University Buffaloes. This would have been 10 years ago at this point, but they had him do the voice to announce the gas for the Colorado Buffaloes. Like, that was great. That was phenomenal. That's how you knew he had made it in the Colorado community. And you know someone who was to see you, right, Johnny?
Yes, I do. So South Park's going through, Rob, over your Batman?
Yes. I'm glad that Batman did not get kicked for Kablam, because I definitely didn't think it deserved that. But South Park is a very, very strong candidate for many reasons.
You're a wagon.
It's a wagon. Now, this next one, I'm pretty sure we got locked down. Futurama is the 3 seed versus Dora the Explorer.
I'm going Dora the Explorer.
You've got to be kidding me. I will use my veto. We're not leaving this up for debate. Futurama beats Dora the Explorer every time.
I mean, nice little young Latina girl, just trying to make her way through the world and likes to sing. Give me that. Like I said, never watched it.
Listen, Dora the Explorer got her own movie. I get it. There's also Diego. He's doing his thing. It's a beautiful thing. Futurama, like the children are our future, and the children need to watch Futurama to actually do a good job with the future.
You didn't sell me the first time because I didn't see either one of the shows. You sold me. This time I've seen Dora the Explorer, and I'm going to go with Dora the Explorer.
Well, can I use my veto then? Can I make that? That's what I'm going to do to ensure. We're not going to do rock, paper, scissors. I'm just making sure Futurama gets through over Dora the Explorer.
And it's shaping up just like the last one, Rob. The 1 seed gets knocked out, but the 3 and 4s go on. Jesus. Now, will the 2 seed go on in this one?
Avatar versus Angry Beavers. Okay. Are you going to try and throw?
I really just wanted to use your veto there, so you couldn't veto the one I wanted.
Yeah, I know, because you're an asshole. So I want to pick Avatar going through over Angry Beavers. What's
fine with me? I don't really have. I mean, I didn't really fight for Angry Beavers. I kind of explained to you against.
You just remember Daggett. I get it. I wasn't sure, man. I just wasn't sure because again, we're already done now. That's half of the bracket done, and we still don't know where Johnny's veto is going to come in. So it's just we're all agog to see what Johnny decides is worth saving.
I may not have to. We've been.
All right, well, let's go to the next 1 seed that has not yet fallen. Looney Tunes versus Real Monsters.
This is a tough one.
This is a very tough one.
And I'm going to say it's a buzzer beater. And I'm going to say Looney Tunes has to go through here. Because without the Looney Tunes, there is no Real Monsters. There's none of these cartoons. Real Monsters is fantastic, but it didn't have that great of a run. My favorite episode was when they were surfing through the sewers. I love that episode. But, I mean, Looney Tunes is just a cast of characters that are timeless. So I'm going to go with Looney Tunes.
They are. Well, so again, to be clear though, we're not talking about the We are not talking about the Looney Tunes show, right? Which was kind of a later thing. We're talking about the original.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to make sure we've got the right one. Okay. I got you. The one on Nickelodeon, right? Or no, Cartoon Network. The Looney Tunes on Cartoon Network. That's what we're talking about. All right. I'm going to say that Our Real Monsters just doesn't have the staying power to displace something like that.
I
Because
say they went up against a couple other people in this, they would probably go on.
Yeah.
I love Real Monsters. I even just remember one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
Not the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure because I was trying to find there's so many different types. Like there is Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. Like there's so many pieces to Looney Tunes, but we're talking about the show that ran a Cartoon Network 1992 to 2004. All Real Monsters was not, 3 seasons versus just even that by itself, the 12 seasons of Looney Tunes, incredibly difficult to disrupt. Because they also did the Looney Tunes show, which was incredibly sarcastic and millennial and great, but also from 2012. Wildly different scenario. Funny, not something that we're trying to debate, though, as part of a millennial podcast. From nostalgia. Okay. Cow and Chicken, the 12 seed, versus Ed and Eddie, the 13 seed. So we get a guaranteed.
Basing, but yeah, this guaranteed we're going to have a Cinderella going dancing in the Sweet 16. Get your shoes on. Cinderella's at the ball. Here we go. And it's going to be Ed and Eddie because I know how you feel about them. You sold me on them.
My boys.
And like I said, Cow and Chicken, they only got through because I forgot who they were playing in the last round.
Pinky and the Brain. Oh, Cow and Chicken were playing Invader Zim.
I didn't give a shit about either of them, really.
Exactly.
Ed and Eddie goes through.
All right. So their next matchup, the Magic School Bus versus Spider-Man from 1994.
Magic School
Bus. Pick Spider-Man. Just
Bus.
You want the Magic School Bus?
I'm not gonna use my veto.
Bro, okay.
You know what? I'll go with Spider-Man with you. I'll go with Spider-Man.
That's okay. Fine. So just so we're clear, I love Spider-Man's one of my favorite, superheroes in general. But the reason why I enjoy Spider-Man so much is because of that series as like the starting point. You know what I mean? Like that, it was that Batman, X-Men.
I want to do rock paper scissors I could, but I don't really have that much Magic School. Like I loved it, but I'm not that invested in it, and I don't want to use my veto right here because I'm not thoroughly like that vested into it. So that's fine. We can put Spider-Man through. I have no problem with that.
I know where this is going. I know who you are. All right. Let's finish this corner of the bracket. Beavis and Butthead versus Courage the Cowardly Dog. Where are you at, Johnny?
We'll go with your boy Courage.
I love Courage. But they figured after you were like, Daria is a better show than Beavis and Butthead, which it is, that I was not worried about it.
You know where I stood after that. I mean, if it was
but that's what I say. The first round, we understood each other very well. So let's go to the last corner of the bracket. We've got our 1 seed, the Powerpuff Girls versus Cartoon Planet, the variety show experience. Just very unique experience. Johnny, are you going to try and you convinced me to drop Cat Dog off last time because of Cartoon Planet. How do you feel about this same show versus the Powerpuff Girls?
I'm not willing to use my veto because I have it saved for something I want to use maybe later. But I still think Cartoon Planet is better than Powerpuff Girls.
And I understand that. I think so. I think that the Powerpuff Girls has a bigger impact than maybe we realize. So at
that point, I was only saying that because I wanted you to give me a good reason, and you got it. I know exactly where you're going with that, and I don't want to get the bad flack. You're 100% right. The Powerpuff Girls is empowering women, and give me that.
From 98, right? So that's the thing. The show came out in 1998. That was a big deal when you have 3 little girls who are fucking badasses, right? It just means, especially not Bubbles. I think it was Buttercup, the green Powerpuff Girl. She's a fucking badass. And they're all awesome, but you know, to me that added the element X that that pushes it over the top. So I won't check out Cartoon Planet though. You've intrigued me greatly about Cartoon Planet. I saw like maybe 1 or 2 episodes. I didn't really get it as a child, but if I can find it on like Boomerang or something, I will definitely watch a few episodes now. All right, so number 12 seed Recess versus the 4 seed Family Guy.
Okay, so for me here, I love both of these shows so much. Like, love them.
Mm.
But, I mean, if we're going to be honest with each other, and it's Family Guy.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, Family Guy is not even a strong show in so much as just, again, an icon.
Recess was great, and it would beat a lot of the people in this bracket.
Mm.
But it's not being Family Guy.
Well, now more recent episodes of Family Guy have kind of fallen off, right? Like, I mean, they're still doing their thing, but it hasn't really. It's kind of almost sank to Simpsons level.
7 seasons were just unbelievable.
That's fair. That's very fair. It was a phenomenon at its time, and even during when it was a phenomenon, did it for longer than Recess. So I get you. I get you. Okay. So we are going to put Family Guy through over Recess. Now, The Simpsons, which you didn't want through, versus Tiny Toons and Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toons goes through. That's my veto. I don't care what you
said. all right. Jeez.
I don't like The Simpsons. Not a Simpsons guy. You can clip this. Don't like The Simpsons. Fuck The Simpsons. Give me Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons is great. Like I said, in a lot of ways, Tiny Toons is better than Looney Tunes. So I definitely would push you a little bit on that, but I don't need to. You vetoed it. Makes it easy for me. I'm not mad about Tiny Toons going through on that, which they are a 6 seed. So it's not like, you know, we're breaking the bank here.
Go after I didn't go for like, I think that's where you knew I was going.
So, okay. So the last one, Pokemon, was a 15 seed because Phineas and Ferb, you know, just didn't cut a lot of weight with us. And then Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold is a great show. I think that it has to, in terms of actual content and not phenomena in and of itself, Hey Arnold is actually a good show, and Pokemon is a phenomenon. Like, it goes with the cards, it goes with the video games.
So comparing that to a college basketball, it's the point guard from the MEAC that got through the first round, who could score 50, but he goes up against a team like in Syracuse who plays a 2-3 zone, and you just.
I do it differently. No, I do it differently. I'd say that I would compare it this way. I would say that Pokemon is like, what's a good one? It's like any SEC basketball team that's not like Kentucky, and then some years Florida. Okay, so like the SEC has a lot of pomp and circumstance, a lot of really great teams in other sports. And as a conference, they're very strong. And whoever wins the SEC on a year in, year out basis in basketball should be okay. It should be pretty good. But that doesn't translate to the basketball court when you're playing, you know, one of those smaller mid-major conferences. So like, for example, pick, you know, the MEAC or whatever, any of Wichita State, let's say. Wichita State in basketball has a lot of strength, but if you pick any other sport against an SEC team, not so great. But you pick Wichita State against any SEC team in basketball during March Madness.
I guess that was a better analogy.
They'll carry a lot more weight. So to me, Hey Arnold should beat Pokemon because Pokemon has all of the cultural background, but the show itself, it's not that good a show. Like, it's not actually a good cartoon. It's just when you're playing the video game and watching the show, and, you know, like, there's a lot of extra stuff to it. It's cool, but Hey Arnold is better.
All right, I like the sell job. You did a good sell job.
Okay. I mean, were you going to really push Pokemon over Hey Arnold? That's where you were at?
No, I thought you were gonna go somewhere different with that. I thought you were gonna go completely Pokemon.
I mean, again, Pokemon was great. I watched it every morning when I went to school. But if they put Hey Arnold on, which sometimes they did, I was so much happier watching Hey Arnold and episodes of Hey Arnold than episodes of Pokemon. So that's where it truly comes down to me for me. So
So just
Johnny, I love when you waited, you kept me with bated breath, but you used your veto in dramatic fashion.
I mean,
So
I got
our
a lot of slack probably for getting rid of, an American institution, but
hey,
just Kentucky basketball, I don't like them.
I think we are going to get a lot more flack about getting rid of SpongeBob in the second round than The Simpsons. But with that said, here is our Sweet 16 for everybody. So we'll be posting this on Twitter so that you all can make your votes and decide who you like better. And we'll definitely, if we need to, we probably will. We will be debating, and if there's any debate between us, instead of doing rock paper scissors, which we had to do more times than we expected, and even one coin toss.
Somebody out in Twitter world sees this or wants to come on and be like, hit us up. Maybe we'll pick one of you guys to come
Yeah.
on, see what's going on. But
And
I was
if not, the crowd vote would be the deciding factor. However, the Twitterverse decides to vote will override what we have to say, because I know for a lot of these matchups, there will be ones where we just agree completely and it's going to be no problem. And there are a lot of them where we are not going to agree at all.
regular tournament, Rob. Just real quick before you do it, recap.
Yeah.
We do have two seeds. We have a 3 seed. We have a couple 4 seeds. We have 2 1 seeds, and we have two double digit seeds, and then everybody else is like in the middle. This is exactly how like a college bracket would work.
Yeah, I think so. I think that as usual, IMDb didn't do a terrible job with their rankings, and we've got a pretty good field here. So we are going to post the matchups on Twitter. We need you guys to go out there and vote, because I fully expect us to disagree on most, if not all, of these matchups, and your vote will be the deciding factor, especially for this first go around, because we're not going to Rochambeau or do a coin toss to see who moves forward on some of these matchups. We definitely want to decide who the best cartoon show is.
This is important to like the world.
We're adding to the to the substance, the culture of the world, by declaring who the best cartoon shows are, really, so we can get people to go watch them, because now it's easier than ever to go look these old shows up, as I will for some of them. So, Johnny, our matchups. We've got the Wild Thornberries versus Animaniacs. That would be one matchup.
9 versus a 4.
9 versus a 4. Then we have Johnny Bravo versus Rugrats in the other part of that bracket.
2 versus a 2.
Yep, two versus 3, 3 versus 2. Very chalk. And now, in the next bracket, we have The Tick, the animated series, versus South Park.
Another 9-4. We got another 9-4 matchup.
And then we have Futurama versus Avatar, another.
It's the same exact, lining up the same way.
Exactly. And let's see. Then we have the Looney Tunes, again, from, I believe, where I already listed it before, the Cartoon Network show, Looney Tunes, versus
the 1 seed versus the 13.
Versus the 13, Ed, Edd, and Eddy. I believe also a Cartoon Network show. And then we have Spider-Man 1994, the 1994 series, versus Courage the Cowardly Dog. That's going to give me an existential crisis, but that's okay.
Matchup. And we're going to do some research on this.
I'm definitely going to watch episodes. Don't worry, dude. Then we have the Powerpuff Girls versus Family Guy in the last bracket.
Get 1 versus 4.
And then we have Tiny Toons versus Hey Arnold.
It's a little crazy. We got a 6 versus a 10. We're going to have a higher than 5 seed. Definitely move on to the Elite 8. That's a big deal.
Those are great shows. Like I said, in my opinion, all of these shows that have gone through are excellent shows.
And those two are very low. They're very lowly ranked.
They are. But so this is why we are going to put everything on Twitter. We're going to give you guys a week. We're going to do some research, watch some episodes, and we're going to see who, if anybody, wants to contribute to the conversation. You can put comments. You can put, try and sell us. Like I said, we love being sold.
DM us. If you listen to the whole show, you know we can be sold. So let's wrap this up real quick. Thank you for joining us on the Iron Ostrich Network. We are the Spiked Boys doing the Bracket Boys podcast right now. I know that's a little confusing, Spiked College Football Show, but right now we're doing the bracket, first bracket, the cartoon bracket. We are down to the Sweet 16. We just went over the list. Check us out, Iron Ostrich Network on Twitter, Spiked College Football on Twitter. Come help vote. You know, send us some DMs. We are still looking for a little intern to do some graphics because this would look really cool on a graphics board if we could have awesome graphics. I think it'd get a lot of play. And I'm Spike Johnny B. That's Spike Rob. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. Give us some feedback. We have a couple other drafts or brackets we're going to do after this. But this is our first one. It's dropping today, the Sunday. It is the 26th, I think, and we'll have the next one out next Sunday. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll be streaming live for that one. Hopefully some guys will jump in and out of the Zoom from Iron Ostrich if they want to. And anything else, Rob, for your closing?
You know, even though it's the Bracket Boys, we still are the Spiked, kind of the Spiked show. This is who we are. It's going to be posted on our YouTube channel. Check us out. Spiked CFB88 is on Twitter handle. And then we've also got Instagram. And like I said, we have a Spiked YouTube channel. Check all of that out. So as always, we ask you all to keep spiking it, and we will see you very soon. Boom.